make music under the name Kid Simple. I'm originally from Sammamish, Washington, just outside of Seattle. Sort of ties into my early influences, I guess, because there was a lot of kind of DIY venues on the east side and stuff like that, and I kind of grew up listening to music that came out of that scene.
I'm Alex Schroeder. I run Hush Hush Records. I was born in Seattle but grew up on Bainbridge Island before moving back to Seattle to go to school at the University of Washington, and I've been here ever since. I was one of those kids who grew up on Cube, the radio station, so listened to a lot of hip-hop and R&B growing up, as opposed to grunge and alternative rock. So I think that's always kind of had influenced my taste growing up, and it's kind of steered me into the kind of music I'm really into these days. But college was also really influential, getting into electronic music and the beginning of going to school at UW, and just kind of the fusion of electronic and more beat-oriented music with hip-hop and R&B styles.
I think I first really got into electronic music when I first got into dubstep in the late 2000s, kind of before it kind of peaked out and turned into something different or whatever. And I particularly liked an artist called Burial that was associated with that scene, and he's had a huge influence on my music. So I think that was kind of my gateway into more ambient leaning stuff.
I got really into electronic music beginning in college, into high school. A buddy of mine who we grew up listening to a lot of the same stuff, he introduced me to the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, which is kind of embarrassing, but that had some really early electronic artists that I got into, particularly Aphex Twin type stuff, Squarepusher, early Warp Records. So that was kind of how I got into electronic music, and I was just really dug how there's more of a focus on just the music kind of conveying the message rather than lyrics. I always enjoyed that about electronic music. Hush Hush Records started out as an extension to a monthly DJ night that began February of 2012. A friend of mine asked if I was interested in starting and hosting a monthly DJ night at a spot called The Living Room on Capitol Hill that is sadly no more, but a cool little intimate space. Thought it'd be cool to kind of put a spotlight on the more introspective, kind of more chill type beats rather than doing a dance floor night, just because I was really excited about some of the slower beats that producers were making over the last few years. So started off as a monthly DJ night. Kid Simple was the first guest for that night, and the night continued through the summer of this year, but the label started around May, springtime of last year, because Joey was sending me just a bunch of unreleased tracks that he was working on, and I thought they're all really good, and kept bugging him about why they weren't out there for more people to hear. So tried to get him in contact with some other labels that were already established, but nothing panned out, and it's just kind of one of those you make me kind of want to start a label to get this music out there. So we just kind of did that and kind of had a plan to put out his first full-length album, which was the third release on the label. But yeah, it all kind of stemmed from wanting to put out Kid Simple's debut full-length album. Night Bus was this kind of an idea as far as a way to describe certain music that doesn't really fit a genre. It more describes a feeling you get from listening to music, which is kind of it's more just introspective, cinematic, kind of nostalgic. The kind of music you want to listen to on a bus at night with your headphones on, kind of watching the city go by. The main thing was just to put out Kid Simple's album. That was the very first motivation behind starting the label. And getting it going. And I think when we initially made the decision for me to launch a label and to put out the record, I kind of thought that was going to be it for some reason. I didn't really have a big picture in place for the label at that point. But but it kind of quickly became just a resource and an outlet to release music that I was excited about, that I thought should reach more ears, because with my other job at KEXP, DJing and assisting the music director, and my previous work at Rainy Dog Radio, the University of Washington student station, it's just always been about sharing music and trying to get more people to hear cool music. So the label has kind of taken on that role for me in a much more direct way.
For the album, I try to keep in mind like the whole like the big picture of the album. I wanted it to like, you know, be something that you could sit down and listen all the way through, and it would kind of go through some sort of movement, you know, kind of, you know, that kind of idea of like telling a story, but I mean, there's not like a particular, like a really specific story or concept behind it. So just a lot of sitting at my laptop, a lot really late at night, and just working on music.
Getting to do like an overnight show, you can definitely get more spacey and more ambient. You can play stuff that at 3 a.m. that really wouldn't work at 3 p.m. on a sunny afternoon, and I've always enjoyed that kind of freedom of being able to fit that vibe doing an overnight show. And I was always into kind of like more like down-tempo music growing up, like getting into like DJ Shadow and more instrumental hip-hop. That it was nice to be able to play that on KEXP and then kind of have that be the focus of the label in a sense, even though trying to broaden the range of sounds on the label. But yeah, it's been cool to kind of get people excited about really calm, introspective music. It's been interesting.
We had the same artist do the artwork for both of those releases, and he said he used the handprint because it kind of has like a like, I think primordial vibe is what he said to it, just kind of a really like natural feel, I guess is what he felt like, a really like human. So he thought a handprint was a good sort of symbol for that, and I liked the idea, and then he kind of ran with it for the artwork for the album as well.
I mean, it was really Sean Horton who wanted to do it, which I was just really excited about and honored that he wanted to do a showcase at this year's festival. Sean Horton's like the founder, director, curator, main curator of Decibel Festival, and he's someone I've known for a while through my work at KEXP and just kind of being a part of the electronic music community. So yeah, he reached out to me earlier this year about the idea of doing a Hush Hush showcase, and I kind of knew which local artists I wanted to be on the bill, and then just kind of talked to him about which international artists would make the most sense to kind of fit the vibe of the label. I think it's gonna be like a wide range of styles, to be honest, because Domokos, DJ AO, Kid Simple, all I feel are still more on like the introspective side of things, whereas the international headliners all have had their moments of making more down-tempo chill beats, but they've definitely gotten more up-tempo, kind of more party jams in a sense with the bigger shows they're doing, like Ryan Hemsworth, Cyril Hahn. Those guys have been touring a lot, so they've been bringing more of an up-tempo vibe to their DJ sets. So I think it's gonna be a wide range of styles, but it's all gonna be really cool. It's all gonna be like, I think, really emotional, because I think that's the trait that kind of runs through everybody's music is there's like a certain emotional sense to all their styles, whether it's a dance track or it's like a really late night type of